goes again. Oh man, it wasn't doing this. What was it, yesterday when I mixed this song? Wasn't doing it at all. Maybe God just doesn't want you to hear it. Who knows? For particular reasons. I'm joking, but man, why is it like now? It's not even letting me. Oh man. Do it again. Hopefully this time. True love is really hard to find. Won't you try? Oh man. I really want you guys to hear it, but it's when it hits that second line. Won't you give this heart a try? What more? Give this heart a try. Anyways, once again, I have the vocals muted because I don't want to give it away. But the song it's nothing like Someone to Spend Time With. But it has somewhat the same idea. You guys will find out later. But the style of the song itself, like I said, it's what I'm trying to go for. 80s, 70s, city pop, jazz fusion. And what I mean by that is that other than just like the laid-back songs, I also have some more intricate and skillful songs that I hope to show people. I'm tired of just being seen as a singer when in reality I'm doing all these tracks by myself. Always have. It's weird. Mixer program you use? You mean the recording software? Ableton. Because you're able to make a ton. Ableton. I feel like when you're doing everything by yourself, but you're making more modern music, I feel like it's a lot easier because it doesn't have to sound like it's a full band. But in my case, I'm trying to make it sound like a full band is playing together, but it's really just me. But yeah, I'm using Ableton. What do I think about the Tascam mixer? I like it. I mean, it's the first interface mixer that I ever got in. Never changed it. Although there's some issues because I personally didn't take care of it. I mean, it still works, but yeah. How much do I like it? I mean, I haven't changed it. I don't plan on changing it. Maybe if one day, by any chance, I don't know, I live in a big house, and I just have space for multiple recordings. But as of now, I live in my humble home. There's really no need for anything bigger than this, or I don't know, it just works. Helps. There's even a Bluetooth channel. I don't know how common that is, but this channel here, it's for Bluetooth and for auxiliary, which is like an aux cable. So I'm able to play songs through my phone without connecting it and have it as a track, as a channel. But yeah, other than a mixer, it's an interface. So I'm able to plug in here, transfer it to my computer. I don't know, man. A lot of people are messaging the same things. I'm confused. It is well? Which one? Because there's this one. It is well with my soul. It's an old song. Very repetitive. Yes, I do know Sprouts. We go there, me and my wife, we go to get organic stuff. It's expensive, but yeah, we go every now and then. Not often, but we go. I don't know what Shake Shack is, to be quite honest. If that's an artist or a band, just telling you guys right now, I don't really listen to a lot of today's music at all. Vallarta, every now and then, to go get a custom cake or certain like Mexican products and foods that we can't get at places like Sprout, like tortillas, handmade tortillas. I mean, I don't get those, but I know they sell them there. Can't get those at Sprouts, I'll tell you that, or Whole Foods, or Trader Joe's. But yeah, Vallarta, it's kind of rare. I used to when I was younger, when I was living with my mom. We would go very often, or if not, there was another place called Tres Sierras, or we'd go to El Super, or Superior, and Valley Plus when that was a thing. I don't even know if they're still in business. Valley Plus, or Food for Less. Will you come to Mexico? Maybe. Quizás. Ni me salgo de mi propia casa a ir a ciertos lugares aquí en California. porque tengo otras prioridades. Cuando empecé la música, yo empecé para grabar y para hacer el trabajo en la casa, no para tocar en vivo. Pero como mi música sí es el tipo de música que se toca en vivo, entonces de vez en cuando sí salgo. Es que viene con mucha presión o presura de la audiencia, más cuando tienes una audiencia muy, ¿cómo te digo? Que se actúan como niños, sin educación, sin respeto. Más cuando el tipo de música que ahora toco, yo sé que a muchos de esta generación no les gusta. Es desagradecen mucho, nomás te puedo decir eso. Solo quieren que toque la música con cuales ellos se pueden identificar, como las canciones de Amtrak, Someone to Spend Time With. Pediches, entitulados, immature. Quisiera ir al pasado, tocar en tiempos más maduros y, como te digo, más sinceros. Pero los tiempos han cambiado y la gente es muy rápida con todo, con la comida, con la televisión, con la música. Muy rápido. Y por eso hice una canción que se llama El Mundo y refiere a las cosas del mundo que siempre andan corriendo. La gente siempre anda rápida y moviendo y nunca se pausan a agradecer pues a la vida. Siempre andan en el jale o pues específicamente habla de la ciudad y cómo la gente allí siempre andan moviendo, siempre deprisa. Va así de... Bueno, la canción, I'm not even being philosophical, I'm just being straight up in a way that really hits people in the heart because I think it's an issue that most people don't care about because they look on the internet, they enjoy all this new stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, I've been into a lot of modern pop culture and it sucks you in a way where it makes you feel like you're missing out. And if you're not in the now, you're forgotten. You're a nobody. And that's why everybody's watching memes every day, in the comments all the time, up to date with all the new trends. And it's just so saturated. And that's why it's hard to make it in the music industry. For the same reason it's hard to make it in any industry. So many people are doing it. It's such a busy industry, when in reality it's not even a necessity. My father working in the fields and working his butt off to feed us is so much more precious than some musician who just sings a couple lines and everybody loves him. It does nothing for you. Nothing realistic. All it does is just give you a sense of comfort, but it doesn't do anything like feeding you or, giving you a place to sleep. And this society, whether it be the secret societies that are in control or, us really just ruining the next generations, one thing is certain, is we're all caught up in the now. We're all caught up in wanting to fit in so badly. The thing that's weird though is back then, phones and social media didn't exist like today. That's what's really different. And I think that's why music is very underappreciated, from the musicians to the audience. Musicians have all this technology and they make all this stuff, this nonsense at times. Not everybody, but from a lot of what I've seen. And the audience, they just want to feel like their artist sees them, like they get me. And that's why you get a lot of you get a lot of very popular musicians who take advantage of that. They take advantage of you. And sometimes, as I was speaking about secret societies, it's not even hidden anymore. It's very obvious that musicians, like any entertainer and popular person alike, they're used to control you. How? Not to force you, but to trick you into thinking a certain kind of way. To make you agree with everything they say, just because they seem so special and untouchable and super big and special. I don't know how else to put it. Let me give you an example. Justin Bieber. When Justin Bieber wrote that song, or maybe someone else wrote it, I'm sure someone else did. Baby, 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 oh. How many people were singing that? And how old were they? I can assure you they were less than 20. How old are they now? Why do I ask that? Because those feelings carry on with them, and it shapes their image as they grow older. Back in the 50s or the 40s, maybe there was something similar to that, like the Beatles. Although the Beatles made some good compositions, they still had a fan base that was very much like Bieber's or like Swifties. It comes a long way, but that only started when the music industry was a thing. Before that, everything was local. Everything was local. There wasn't a radio like today. You played for your people in the town, or you played for your family, or you played for a king in those days. But today, I guess my point is that music has become so superficial. And I was just like that. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Trust me, I was like that. I was looking up to different musicians and thinking, oh, I want to be like them. That's basically where I get a lot of my styles of music. But I think my taste particularly comes from a former time. And that's what kept me kind of realizing that there's a difference between people who love music and people who like to use it as a footstool, as a way to make them seem cool. But believe it or not, a lot of those artists that I did look up to, as sincere as I thought they were, I don't look up to them anymore because of my faith in God. I've realized there are so many distractions, so many things that cause you to stumble. I won't get too deep into that, but long story short, I don't want to be a superficial artist. I'm tired of a superficial audience. And therefore, the music that I make will reflect not only what message I'm trying to convey, but even the style of music that I'm going for. It's a lot more sincere and old-fashioned. That's why I use sounds that aren't so modern. I try to stick to those old-sounding tracks. Probably because I grew up with video game music, so that takes a big influence, or that's one of my biggest influences, is melancholic, nostalgic video game music from the early 2000s or late 90s. And then looking back, where they get their inspiration from is like 70s and 80s jazz fusion, or what I'm into now. But anyways, as much as I can enjoy my music, one thing I'm certain is I have a big impact on people, real people. And just because I'm popular, that doesn't make people any less than me. I'm no different from you guys. I'm, in the eyes of God, I'm no different. No different. The rich man goes to the same place that the poor man goes. And all is vanity. All of it's pointless unless it lasts forever. And you'll find that a lot of the things that we do not last forever. And I think that's what I got changed. It's that I'm tired of doing things that only give you a temporary satisfaction. That's really what a lot of high school peers are made up of, at least in my years. And I'm sure it was the same for many history, like much of history, like even back to the 80s and 70s, but specifically 2000s and up. We're made up of superficial people who do temporary things that don't last. And yeah, I'm tired of making music that causes people to stumble. And also, even if I were, let's say, successful with doing the music that I think is genuine, like I said, I'm well aware that I have control over you guys. That's why you guys are here, right? No one forced you to be here. There's some kind of curiosity out of your heart that, whether you like me or not, you could hate me for all I care, but, something drew you here. And so that's the kind of power that a musician has. Able to control the way people feel in a way that I'm not even touching you. I'm not even like forcing you. It's just music. Music, just like words, for example. You can't see music. I mean, I guess you can, but not like as I play this, right? Like you can't see it, but it makes you feel a kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with words. You can't see my words. You can see my lips moving, but the words themselves, the sentences, they're all a thought, something that is unseen, and that has power. So, music, the devil uses the music. I can tell you that right now, to control people. And that's what you're seeing. That's why you hear a lot of conspiracies about certain artists and musicians. It's no conspiracy, really. But there's a lot of weird stuff. And that's why you see a lot of brainwashed audiences. Because it's powerful. It's powerful. Have you ever played around with the Gerudo Valley theme? Yeah, I mean, I played it on guitar. It's one of the first songs that I would learn on the acoustic a while back. It's kind of hard because you have melody and then you have the chords, so you can't really play it all unless you're a real pro. But yeah. What are your thoughts on The Sinceres? I've never heard. I'm not sure who that is. ¿Lees un libro actualmente? La Biblia. La Biblia consiste de 66 libros. Es el único libro realmente que yo leo. Is it hot in there? It's pretty warm. It's not hot. It was hot like a couple weeks ago, or last week, or 2 weeks. I'm glad that's over. It was very hot. You could not do anything about it. I mean, unless you have AC, but I don't. When we first rented this house, it came with an AC, but that AC was nasty. It was musty, dirty. Why you cut your hair if you're growing it out again? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of inevitable to grow it out, but when it grows out too much, it's like a tree or a plant. If it grows out too many branches, sometimes those branches die out or they become invasive. You know, they don't allow the tree to flourish, and so that's why you hear the word groomer. I mean, it's not used in a good context today, but what a groomer does, he comes and he cuts off different branches so that the tree can flourish. And in some cases, when you cut your hair, for example, see if I cut my hair like this, I can see. So when my hair grows really big, I shave it, but I don't shave it too much because I ain't trying to look bald. I ain't going back to that. I remember my father used to give me that ongo head. He'd cut my hair in a bowl cut, like a buzz bowl cut. That paisita hair. But anyways, yeah, it just helps me see if I cut it. Do I face the inevitable or let it happen? You talking about your hair? Dr. Watermelon, the server is still active. I kind of opened it up a couple weeks ago. I've been paying for that realm for at least almost 2 years. What are your religious beliefs, if I may ask? In short words, I believe in Christ and Christ alone. I don't believe in a specific doctrine because doctrines don't save you, but God does. So that's why I lean upon the only one who can save, that being Christ Jesus. A lot of people see it as religion, but religion is actually a term that's, I'd say, it's used very broadly, but people don't really understand that it's not about religion. It's about worldview, the way you see the beginning and the end, where religion is really just a practice. It's like saying, playing music is my religion. You know, that's the way you'd use the term. But I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah, Christ and Christ alone. What are my thoughts on weed? Do I pray to God or Jesus? Well, that's the thing. They're the same. Jesus is God. My thoughts on weed. So I've been smoking, I think I first started when I was 11. And it wasn't until I turned 17 where I would really start smoking consistently. And then once I got really popular, I started smoking basically every day, maybe 8 times a day. By 8 times, I'm talking about not 8 hits or 8, inhales. I'm talking about like sessions. And over the years, I just had money all the time. But it seemed like I just couldn't live without it. And I hated the thought that I'm so enslaved by something that apparently gives me relief or apparently gives me a sense of fun, entertainment, or relaxation, whatever it is. But because I'm a big overthinker, and yes, I would actually smoke from a bong, particularly a big bong. And because I'm a big overthinker, because I'm a big musician with an audience, not the biggest, but you know what I mean. I have a pretty big audience. I have 2 million monthly listeners, and that's just Spotify. Who knows what it's like with all the different platforms. But anyways, I'm not careless about my audience. I'm well aware that I have control over people, and all this pressure and just knowing how weird the industry is all around, and how the devil, he uses music. That's his playground. He uses entertainment, really. That's his playground. I felt a lot of pressure. And even when I was believing in God and trying my best to be faithful, I was still smoking. Now, I don't condone that. But just to let you know, me as a smoker, I didn't like to smoke at parties. I wasn't a person who liked to be in big posses, and smoke and just have fun. No, I like to actually be conscious of what's going on, and even beyond, you've probably seen it in hippies and such. Now, I was no hippie, but I was a big overthinker. I was very realistic about reality. And one thing that always popped in my mind was the fear of death. You see, there are people who are ignorant, and they say, I don't care what happens. And there are people who know death is coming, inevitably, but they want to do something about it. And that was me. And, that's where you get different religions and different worldviews, but there's none like that of Christ, where he boldly talks about death and that it's inevitable. And the only way you can overcome death is if you are pure, you're perfect. And to cut to the chase, none of us can be perfect on our own. We must be perfected by someone who's greater than us. Let me give you an example. If I'm dirty, let's say I have poop on my arm, if somebody comes and clean me, let's say with their hands, I'm going to be clean, but then now they're dirty, right? Now, I know that's kind of a dumb analogy, but it's a realistic analogy. When you clean something, in the process, you sacrifice your cleanliness or your cleanness, cleanliness, whatever. Jesus Christ did that on the cross. And I was well aware that I'm guilty of a lot of things, but I never liked smoking for fun. I liked smoking because it made me feel like I was relaxed, or like I could, comprehend my thoughts a lot quicker. While there were certain benefits, there were also a lot of problems that came along. So yeah, I don't smoke anymore. It's been at least over a year. But I guess what my point is that my thought of death and all the pressure of being a musician and my fear of death, it all took a big toll on me while I was smoking. Once again, there are people who are ignorant to it, so therefore they're fine. But me, I'm such a big overthinker, and I allowed it to get to me that I actually almost fainted a couple times. I was having a physical issue, and I had to let go. I had to let go. Once again, I smoked a lot, and I smoked for such a long time. So letting go of weed, it made me realize how enslaved I was by it. Never thought I'd come to it. If you're very realistic and an overthinker, yeah, it takes a toll on your mind. It wouldn't give me anxiety like in the way you think, like having thoughts like, oh, what's gonna happen to me, or what do they think about me, like those kinds of anxieties about how society thinks. Rather, physically, it started affecting me without even wanting to. I would just feel anxious, even when I wasn't thinking too much. But anyways, yeah, I stopped smoking because I just wanted to be clean, and I realized how enslaved I was. You may not think that, but just try letting go. Try not smoking for a month or two. You'll find yourself craving it, and that's where you're enslaved. You start realizing you can't live without it. And that's basically addiction, As much as weed didn't make me do crazy things, I was never one to want to try psychedelics and do stuff like that. People will call it a gateway drug. I think it's a gateway drug when people are tired of life. They want something to make them feel different. And when weed doesn't hit them anymore, they step up. But I want to respond to this comment. Watch The Chosen. By the way, I'm well aware of The Chosen, and I don't agree with those people who made that movie, or that show. Sorry, the show. For many reasons, really. I won't get too into it, but long story short, they're not very biblical, and I think it's dangerous when you portray Christ in a way that's outside of Scripture, when he's saying things that are not in Scripture. It gives people who are non-believers, or even just barely